spoke with Stroman a little bit earlier, and he said that he's ready to go out there and throw 200 plus innings this year. How much are you going to be relying on the player when it comes to making a decision like this, and how much are you guys going to just kind of lay it out for all of them?
Well, hey Steve. I mean, you guys know Stroman. I mean, he does not lack confidence for sure, and just great energy. And you know what? That's when he got the QO, and he texted me immediately, and one of the texts said that as well, that he was going to give that for this year. So you always want to hear the guys saying what they want to give as far as like max. They want to give their max. That's kind of like how I took it, and that's how I take it. He said something like that when walking or running by me today as well. He's like that, and it's just great energy. Everyone feeds off of it around him. So that's kind of like how he is, and that's how I see it. It's exciting to hear him. I don't want to say like set standards, but like expect greatness from himself. That's kind of like he's got that self drive.
Is something like that realistic for someone who is coming off a season in which he didn't pitch? Is that something that you guys are open-minded to, or is it again something that at an organizational level, given not just Stroman but the stuff we talked about yesterday with the lack of innings pitched, that you guys are going to watch a little closer than maybe you would in the past?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like going with the flow and having more conversations about it to actually see it be more realistic. I think you'll be a little bold to just say like, yeah, we see it, and but let's see how things develop. Throughout the spring, how the guys look. All the guys that are now in camp, like they brought great shape. Like they did an outstanding job to get into camp. Usually you've seen guys, I want to say, do like 80% of the work of the off season and then do the finishing touches here in spring training. But this guy's came like almost at 100, or if not 100, just ready to compete. So we'll see how it keeps going in the spring, and then it's something we can talk about. We have. Our pitching coach, he's got great feel for arm care and with the history of him pitching and other things, and we have our performance group as well. So there's from the field staff and the performance staff, like we can have great conversations about that, and we certainly can put a plan together as we go along, in the spring, and see how things are.
Thanks.
Tim Healy from Newsday is next.
Hey, Luis. Just wanted to follow up on something that you mentioned yesterday regarding your open-mindedness to openers. How seriously are you and Hefner and kind of the pitching core, as you mentioned, considering that as an option?
Well, team, we haven't had like in-depth conversation, but we definitely talked about it in the past. We did last year, and we haven't really started to develop those conversations, but we do have individuals in our roster right now that can definitely do something like that, and then have a follow up and use a strategy against certain lineups, against certain teams. So those are conversations that are going to be probably engaged at some point. So I'm gonna say that we're open minded. We're open to talk about those and have a feel on how they're actually going to work for us.
And to follow up on one of Steve's questions, to have Stroman back after not getting any innings from him last year, how big of a boost is that to the rotation?
Well, it's huge. Mark is not only the pitcher with his tools, but his personality, as you guys know, his energy, how positive he is, everything that he's inserting. Like I felt that he was everywhere today out there in our facility. Like he was doing PFPs and stuff, and next thing you know, he's watching Jake DeGrom's side, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" But he's he's that guy. He's there for his teammates. It's great to have him around and give feedback to the guys on what he's seeing, and also saying what he's saying about that he wants greatness and he wants to go out there and compete at his best and leave everything out on the field.
Thank you.
Tim Britton from The Athletic is next.
Hey, Louis. Just a couple logistical questions. I'm wondering, how are you spacing guys out in the clubhouse there? Like, are you using a separate clubhouse now or eventually for when you have all 75 guys there?
Well, Tim, yeah, they've done a good job here in our facility, and we got to give kudos to everybody. Our front office, baseball operations here in Florida, Paul Taglieri. I mean, you guys are familiar with Paul and the rest of his staff. Like, they did a tremendous job here, meeting protocol and doing things. Very, very. I'm going to say they pay attention thoroughly to it. So. We have a group on the Major League side. I know you guys are going to be here soon, and you're going to be able to kind of see it in person. But we're in the Major League side. We have a number of guys and a number of coaches. And on the minor league side, we have also a number of players and coaches and staff as well. So we've spaced out. As you know, there's a lot of fields here. We're using them to have multiple stretches. We're using them to have multiple PFP stations, and the catchers are hitting on the backfields right now. We're using the minor league cages. We're using the major league cages. So we are using the space that we have as a complex. It's only one camp. The minor league spring training not going on, helps us to have the appropriate spacing to meet the protocol here.
And when you have the full squad workouts next week, will you have to split up into like morning and afternoon sessions, or can everyone kind of report at the same time like a usual camp?
Well, Tim, our plan is to have it at the same time. We have enough land. We can, as we're staggering now, to do some of the things for our bullpens, more so the wave of the guys coming out and preparing for those bullpens and for them to do the throwing program and all that. We're going to do it the same way when we have the full squad. And we're going to have the live EPs open. We're going to have, it's the plan is set. We're ready to go. We feel pretty good that we're going to be meeting the protocols. The guys are well aware. They're also being educated on the fly about what to expect in the facility and how things are going to be, moving, the flow of things, getting through the day. So I can't wait, to have to see the whole group out there and to see everything working as we have envisioned it when we put it in paper. Dave Giles and the rest of the staff working in collaboration, and our front office as well, approving it when it was presented to them when the manual just came out last week. It was a last minute couple of adjustments there, and it's fallen in place.
Justin Toscano from The Record is next.
Hey, Louis, to follow up a little more on your comment about having a few guys on your roster that are suited to perhaps be an opener if you guys did go that direction, what are a few of those names that come to mind?
Oh, wow. Justin, we can go like really, really long. And, we have a few lefties in our roster that can, they're available for us. They can definitely do that and, kind of like flip things after that. And there's some righties too that have had a routine as a starter before, and they can definitely prepare mentally to come in and give us, not only a one inning as an opener, but they can give us two. Why not? Depending on how they cruise through a first inning. And it's a strategy that you can think of. You can see a lot of individuals. I don't want to start mentioning just a few names because the list is it could go long. From a matchup standpoint, we'll have to balance who's on the opposing lineup and what do we have. I know Aaron probably has the experience of doing that in the past. When we have different guys that can do it, that will be in our bullpen. We've talked to a few guys to see if they'll be open before if we have to, but we've only done it mostly in a spring training time more than in the season. But just mentioning that name, but it's a long list of guys that can definitely do that.
Do you think the opener, just teams will think about it more this year as pitchers look to ramp up after a short season last year, like to protect that arm health? Is that something that might become more prevalent because of that?
Could be. I think it's very smart to think of that. The health, once again, is the number one thing. now in spring, early in the season, and you want to keep everyone healthy out there. I mean, this year we have the marathon, and there's some things that are disrupted, I want to say, from a probably routine standpoint, but it's a smart thing to think about, So, but we'll see how things shape out. I mean, we also have depth in our starting rotation potential, and we have guys that can come in there and give us also the multiple innings to start a game. So, we'll see how things keep going in the spring, and can't wait to get into games. And when we get to those decisions by the end of camp, we'll definitely share some of our plans.
Next question is from Dave Lennon from Newsday.
Hey, Luis. I was wondering with Stroman, you mentioned that he doesn't lack in confidence. Your team has some big personalities on it. How does he fit in with that, and how does that help with you guys, the personality that you have, kind of having that edge as kind of a team that's kind of trying to break into the contenders again? Yeah,
hey, that's a great question, David, and comment about us. I think the group of guys here is great. There's a lot of personalities. I'm laughing because baseball humor, it's always in the air here. Good energy is always in the air here. In the clubhouse, out on the field. I mean, these guys communicate. Before stretch, I was near Stroman and Noah there, and they were talking baseball. They were talking different things, and along like humorous comments, like they also say something baseball related, like at a level that can help one of them gather information and get better. So it's a cool chemistry on the team. Guys like Stroman that you're mentioning, and I know I mentioned Noah. Those guys are really good at it. Jake, talking about the pitchers because the position players are not here, but the camaraderie is the same there. You hear Pete all the time say stuff. JD and Dom and Nemo, Michael, like they're all pretty active. I think the new guys, McCann and those guys are going to get in the mix as well. So good camaraderie, good energy. It's great that we have a few guys that like Stroh, they don't lack confidence, and it's contagious. You need that to compete in this game, and to go out there. And when you're in sync as a team and you don't lack confidence, I mean, a lot of great things can happen. The best version of you can come out.
Thanks, Luis.
Next question is from Ed Coleman from WFAN.
Hey, Luis, a couple of questions. One kind of an offshoot of what Justin had asked before about the openers. Do you view it as almost a necessity this year because of trying to keep, watching innings limits for Peterson and Lucchese and guys like that?
Hey, Ed. Well, not yet. I see it as a necessity. I see it more as a strategy right now to win games and change some things, but we're still not there yet with the decision of going that way. We are open-minded, like I said, to have the conversation and potentially see that, but if it comes out to the necessity where we want to protect the guys, and I think we talked about that here in the call from a health standpoint, I think we are going to have those conversations as well. But now we're seeing camp, guys brought it excellent shape. They're throwing their sides. We had the second waves, the second day of practice, so the second group of guys throwing sides today, and it was an impressive day. So just looking to the unfolding of the spring and the guys to see how they are, and then we can talk about this kind of things.
And secondly, with guys, is this a normal spring at the start? Do you have guys working off the mound every other day like you normally would, or what's the schedule like right now?
Yes, it's pretty normal as far as like guys getting on the mound, the non-throwing PFP, getting the pitchers ready to field their position, getting the catchers ready from a defensive standpoint too, to do all those different things that they're going to be doing in games defensively. And it's actually feels pretty normal when you're out there on the field, even though we're spacing out. I think I'm going to share this. There's a lot of joy out there. I mean, going through the testing and all that, it's a routine now. So the guys who get through it, they're in here and they're just all right. Let's do our thing. So it's I'm glad the guys have adopted that as part of their routine. So it's we know that this is something that we have to do to play the game that we love and to bring the best show we can bring to the fans. And I think the guys are committed to it. And they're having fun out there. They're being like little kids in the first 2 days. We want to maintain that all the way through the end of this season. When baseball ends, by God, the last day. But it's different. I'm gonna say different than last year.
Mike Puma from the Post is next.
Hey, Louie, a couple of things. One, who among the minor leaguers are you most anxious to get a look at this spring?
Hey, Mike. That'll be another list. But I did see Matt Allen today. I saw him through a side. It was impressive. I know it's his first side, and we didn't talk much after it. But the ball looks really good coming out of his hand. So I did see that, and I saw Marcel Renteria throw a little bit, and we just one kid that we acquired, Jency Diaz, saw him throw. But there's a good list of guys. We have some guys that are coming as well from a position player standpoint that we want to see. Beatty, Mauricio, even though we've seen him before, playing in some of our games in spring. Vientos. This kid, Francisco Alvarez, we've seen him take BP a couple of times, and he's got some hitability. I'll tell you that just from watching the BP. So at a young age. So just looking to see them all performing in games. But, they can be very impressive in practice. We heard great reports of, our young prospects. But it's good to see him in action, taking reps right now. But can't wait to see him in action. All those names that I mentioned plus more.
And also, yesterday, Tebow announced his retirement. Just being around a couple of spring trainings when he was there, what did you think of his go at it with baseball?
Yeah, so I got the chance to manage team in Double-A in Binghamton in 2018, and team's passion for the game is impressive, off the chart. I love working with him on a daily basis. I did see improvement every day. The way he went by his business is impressive. I thought guys learned the way he went about it. I mean, he could pass some of that energy from a visual standpoint to the rest of the teammates. And that year he made the All-Star game in Double-A, and he had a good year. I thought it was his best year in the time span he played. But he, we're gonna say that he developed, and it was pleasant being around him all the time. We exchanged texts a little bit last night, but I'm gonna get a chance to give him a call and talk a little bit with him. But it was great to work with him. Great work ethic. Has some tools, but it's he said it was a tough decision. So he will sure be missed around here.
Rich Catino from ESPN Radio is next.
Hey, Louie, when you look at your starting rotation, and last year, I'm sure the evolution of David Peterson probably happened quicker than you guys thought it would. And you talk about that a little bit, and what your expectations are for him, a southpaw in your rotation that's going to be real important.
Yeah, it's he did a great job, such a great job last year, and we were talking earlier today. We were talking about some of the conversations that we had in the spring last year, and how excited we were. I was to watch him pitch out there in the spring. I want to see you competing out there. I want to see, and he's poised. Just how David is. It's great. He pitched in the spring. He threw well, and then taking us to the regular season. after Stroman opted out and he had the chance, he came in and he just stayed the whole time. Huh? That was, I thought is an amazing story. His poise, his abilities, the man that he is, and that he's still growing into. So now in the spring, my expectations is to see the same David Peterson. The guy that's hungry, the guy that's humble, and we talked about this too. And the guy that's very talented. So going out there competing the same way and growing in this game, I think he's gonna keep doing that organically because of how he goes about it.
Thank you.
Luis, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Sure, my pleasure, guys. See you tomorrow.
This concludes